Ice Cube. Goff picks up the drop snap, and Cox.
Look, father time comes for us all. NFL players know this all too well. That all it takes is one bad year for a player to realize that maybe it's time to take it slow and pursue other avenues outside the NFL. Football is an extremely physical sport, and as a result, the NFL has the most turnover of any professional sports league out there. Most guys only last 2 or 3 years, and even if a player does have staying power, it generally doesn't take long for them to bounce out of the league after things go sour for them. Heading into the 2023 season, there are actually quite a few big-name players who very may well be preparing to play the last of their professional football. So, let's take a look forward and try to project 10 NFL stars, or in some cases, former stars, who we expect to retire at the end of this season.
Every year, the expectations are, they are the same. They go in, everybody, this city, they want you to win.
Julio Jones. After being one of the most dominant and consistent wide receivers in the NFL for basically a decade, it seems like the good times have finally come to an end for Julio Jones. He went from being a lock for 1,000 plus receiving yards every year, not to mention a couple of insane league-leading seasons, to, frankly, a bit of an afterthought. The first signs of decline came in 2020 when he was limited to just 9 games and subsequently 771 yards and 53 catches. These mark the lowest totals he's had since 2013, when he played just 5 games after losing the rest of his season to a foot injury. Some thought that he might just need a change of scenery, but it's only gotten worse since he left the Falcons. In 2021, he played 10 games for the Titans and again set a new low watermark production-wise, catching 31 balls for 434 yards and 1 touchdown. This was when the rumors that Jones was washed up really started to build some momentum. And after seeing what he did in Tampa last year with the GOAT Tom Brady as his quarterback, even the most staunch Julio Jones supporters have to be concerned that his time has come. Shaquille Barrett. 2022 was a pretty rough year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker. He entered the season with the highest of highs after finding out that Tom Brady was unretiring for at least one more year of football, only to have it all come crashing down in dramatic fashion. The Bucs struggled right out the gate, starting the season 3-5, and then things went from bad to worse for the 8-year vet. During a Week 8 matchup with the Baltimore Ravens, Barrett went down with a torn Achilles tendon, one of the worst injuries a player can get. Understandably, the injury had the now 30-year-old linebacker in a tough place, as he explained on the Loose Cannons podcast. Mentally, it probably had me in a bad spot for like a day or two. Just wanted to sulk in it a little bit. All the questions you ask when something bad happens that you don't want to happen. Physically now, though, I'm good. I'm doing the rehab. I'm getting better. He continued to explain that he was going to be ready to go in 2023. But when you read between the lines there and add in the context of his age and the challenges associated with returning from an injury of that magnitude, well, the picture's not nearly as clear as he would have you believe it to be. He continued to explain that he was going to be ready to go in 2023. Tampa is likely going to be heading into a transitional period as an organization, and his huge cap hit is not going to make it any easier. They are going to need some serious production out of the former Pro Bowler this year if he wants to play out the rest of the 4-year deal that he signed in 2021 after the team's Super Bowl win. And if things just keep going south, or even worse, if he sustains another injury or setback, well, I wouldn't be shocked to see Barrett take the power back into his own hands and retire under his own volition. Allen Robinson II. Man, does Allen Robinson's lone Pro Bowl season back in 2015 with the Jacksonville Jaguars feel like a lifetime ago. There was just so much excitement about the second-year receiver out of Penn State after he went for 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns that year. But he's never really taken off the way that people had expected him to. That said, he did manage to notch a couple of good seasons since. In 2019 and 2020, while playing for the Chicago Bears, he managed to post back-to-back 1,100-plus yard seasons, and did so as really the only legitimate receiving option on the team. But since then, he really seems to have just fallen off a cliff. His last season in Chicago was an absolute nightmare. But there's a general belief that that was more of an indictment of the Bears' offense than really Robinson. So people were excited to see him join the reigning Super Bowl champion Rams ahead of the 2022 season. Robinson, however, did not live up to expectations. He battled a couple of nagging injuries and completely and totally underwhelmed. Now he's joined up with the Pittsburgh Steelers, marking his 3rd team in 3 years. If he can't manage to stay healthy or contribute, he may very well hang him up at the conclusion of this season. Bobby Wagner. Ever since he was drafted by the Seahawks in the second round of the 2012 NFL Draft out of Utah State, Bobby Wagner has consistently been one of the best linebackers in the league. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and the six-time All-Pro selection is heading into his age 33 season. Yeah, not exactly a spring chicken anymore. He should be somewhat revitalized, rejoining Seattle after a one-year sabbatical in Los Angeles, but even he's admitted that at this point in his career, he needs to take it 1 year at a time. Yes, he did indicate that he would like to play longer, but playing linebacker at the NFL level is not exactly conducive to life in your mid-30s, and Wagner seems well aware of that reality. Melvin Gordon. It feels like 100 years ago that Melvin Gordon was considered among the top backs in the league, and warring with the Chargers over his contract situation, and subsequently given birth to Austin Eckler's rise to prominence. 2022 was far and away the worst year of his career. He played just 10 games for the Broncos before signing to the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad, and though he didn't play a single snap for Kansas City, he did still get a ring, which apparently was good enough for him. Well, you know, I got a ring, so the hard part is done. I'm just looking for somewhere to play, man. You know, you just have fun on the back end of things. You know, I just want to enjoy it, football, on the way out. On the way out, Well, that's an interesting choice of words. Sounds like 2023 could be curtains for Melvin Gordon. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is as good as it gets, not just at his position or on the defensive side of the ball, but truly as a football player. When he retires, the three-time Defensive Player of the Year will walk into Canton, no questions asked. And after an injury-plagued 2022 campaign, it is looking more and more likely that stroll will come sooner rather than later. I mean, think back to the Rams' Super Bowl run. There were rumors back then that Donald was going to walk off into the sunset. The way he plays the game simply has to come with a serious physical toll. And man, he prepares like an absolute maniac. Simply put, this man has to be tired. So if he gets banged up, or if the Rams struggle again, do not be shocked to see this future Hall of Famer call it quits. Fletcher Cox. Just existing at 6'4" and over 300 pounds is exhausting enough as it is. I can't imagine throwing on the pads and banging bodies with other 300-pounders week in and week out for a decade plus. But then again, there is a reason Fletcher Cox has been a perennial Pro Bowler for damn near his entire career. That said, as tough as Fletcher Cox is, I'm a little skeptical that he'll want to continue his career. Check out the comments that he made earlier in the year to Sports Illustrated. I'm just enjoying the moment, seizing every moment that I'm here, appreciating my teammates. And after the season, again, it's the first time ever in my career that I'll be a free agent and get to make a choice. But at the end of the day, I think the most important part now is getting focused on this game and not just the future. Alright, so he doesn't explicitly state anything about actually retiring, but he clearly seems to have moved into the sentimental twilight phase of his career. And with the Eagles entering the year as a popular pick to take home the Lombardi Trophy, who's to say that Philly doesn't get it done this year and Cox rides off into the sunset? Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson, a 13-year NFL vet, signed a 1-year extension with the Broncos back in May. And though he has been a key contributor on a stout Broncos defense over the past few years, there's a reason to believe that he may look to call it quits after the season. He's already made the first step towards retirement for a defensive back by moving from cornerback to safety, which he did back in 2019. But even playing safety requires a lot of athleticism, which can be challenging to muster up at his advanced age. Further complicating the situation for Jackson, well, there's a new coaching regime moving into the Broncos facilities. They may be looking to get younger or bring in guys that specifically fit their schemes after year one. So, don't be too surprised if Kareem Jackson moves on after this year. Jason Peters. According to a recent report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, Jason Peters, longtime Eagles offensive tackle and likely a future Hall of Famer, is looking to play his 20th season in 2023. It has been one heck of a career for the 9-time Pro Bowler who broke into the league back in 2004 as an undrafted free agent. But I really wouldn't be too shocked to see this one be his last. Peters is coming off an injury-riddled 2022 campaign, his first with the Dallas Cowboys. And common sense would dictate that the 41-year-old might just be looking to round out his career with a 20th and final season. After all, it does seem like he's already essentially winding down. Last year, he was limited to just 245 snaps, his lowest total since his rookie season with the Buffalo Bills. Though it wasn't up to the standard he set during his career, he still managed to perform at a league average level. I just think that one last run might be all he has in the tank, and really all that he wants to. Matt Stafford. It's easy to say this in retrospect, and granted, it would have cost him a nice chunk of change, but from our point of view, it really would have made sense for old Matt Stafford to have rode off into the sunset after the stars aligned and he won a Super Bowl, during his first year with the Los Angeles Rams. He may finally decide to call it quits. Or honestly, the Rams and the rest of the league may very well decide that for him and push him into retirement. But which NFL player do you think most has a make or break season ahead of them in 2023? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.